Good evening and welcome to the Township of Chatham Township Committee meeting for July 21st, 2016. Greg, has adequate notice been given?
Yes, adequate notice of this meeting of the Township Committee was given as required by the Open Public Meetings Act as follows. Notice was given to both the Chatham Courier and the Morris County Daily Record on January 8th, 2016. Notice was posted on the bulletin board in the main hallway of the Municipal Building on January 8th, 2016. And notice was filed with the Township Clerk on January 8th, 2016.
Thank you. Would everyone please stand for the flag salute? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Mr. Gallup is out of town. Mr. Kelly?
Here.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Sullivan?
Here.
Mayor Ritter?
Here. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Great. Before we move on to our first item, which is a proclamation recognizing Sage Meals on Wheels anniversary, I just want to take a moment and ask that everyone please pause for a moment of silence. These past couple of weeks have been pretty tragic, not only in the United States here, with the death of many police officers in Dallas and Baton Rouge, as well as the terrorist attacks in Nice. So a lot of tragedy, a lot of sad things happening, but I just want to pause for a moment of silence to recognize those, pray for those who have died, their families and friends as well. So. Thank you. Moving on, I want to welcome Fred Jenny from Sage to come up to the microphone, say a few words regarding his organization before we read this proclamation on their behalf. So welcome.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, everybody. Fred Jenny, Executive Director of Sage Elder Care. Sage is one of the largest, longest-running community-based services for seniors in New Jersey, having been established in 1954. Our Meals on Wheels program was started in 1966 with 3 people, I believe, the first day getting delivered meals. We are the longest continuous running Meals on Wheels program in the state and one of the longest running ones in the country. We do provide meal delivery to the Township of Chatham and surrounding areas. We deliver meals to about 125 folks on a weekly basis. One of the key elements of Meals on Wheels is it's so much more than a meal. For a lot of the folks we serve, and roughly 50% are over the age of 85. And the oldest person I believe we were delivering to was 100 years of age. So that for a lot of these folks, over a third, the only person they see as a visitor on a weekly basis is the Meals on Wheels volunteer. So for a lot of folks, this is really a safety check-in as well as a meal. This year we just started a new program, Meals with Friends, which really came about by what we refer to as the sleeve tug. For a lot of our volunteers that go to deliver the meal, the senior getting the meal, when the volunteer goes to leave, the individual might hang on to their sleeve so that they would stay perhaps a little bit longer for a conversation. So the Meals with Friends program is fairly unique. We match a volunteer with an isolated senior, and then that volunteer shops for a meal and brings and shares the meal with that senior. The really nifty thing, it's done on a weekly basis. The meal that's chosen to share is based upon the senior's wish and desire, but on top of having that meal together once a week, on average we're getting 3 phone calls exchange between the volunteer and the senior. So it's really helping to reduce senior isolation. So we're really happy with that program. As part of our celebration for the 50th anniversary, we're going to be doing a gala November 30th at Canoe Brook Country Club, and we hope folks will be able to join us.
Great. Thank you, Fred. Before I read the proclamation, is there any information you can provide folks in terms of they want to volunteer, if they're a senior who wants to get involved with the program, or is there?
Absolutely. You can give a call at 908-598-5500. That's my direct number, so that I can put you in touch with our Director of Volunteers. And the other thing is, part of our 50th anniversary, we're inviting folks to come in and drive for Meals on Wheels. I guess we've got over about 85, 90 folks that have come in to do that. So if anyone would like to come in and take a ride and deliver some meals, it's a very special opportunity. I think when you begin to see seniors and how folks are isolated, it really is a very telling thing. So please do give us a call.
Is there a website as well?
Yes, that is www.sageeldercare.org.
Great, thank you.
Super.
Again, I just want to commend you and your organization for the great work that you continue to do on behalf of seniors and getting people involved in the community as well to give back. But with that, I'll read this proclamation, and then we'll invite you to come on up for a photo op. Whereas Sage Elder Care began its Meals on Wheels in October 1966 with funding received from the Summit Junior League, volunteers were recruited from various organizations such as the College Club, United Church Women, PEO, Red Cross, Women Pioneers of Bell Laboratories, and the Junior Fortnightly Club. Senior nutrition programs became part of the Older Americans Act when signed into law under President Nixon in 1972. SAGE is one of approximately 5,000 current programs in the United States and the oldest continuously run program in New Jersey. Whereas the core of the Meals on Wheels service is a nutritious meal, companionship, and a watchful eye on the health and safety of our neighbors every weekday. Sage Elder Care's Meals on Wheels program currently serves about 44,000 meals to nearly 250 clients annually via 15 routes in 10 communities. Towns presently being served include Berkeley Heights, Chatham, Madison, Millburn, Mountainside, New Providence, Short Hills, South Orange, Springfield, and Summit. Whereas since 1954, Sage Elder Care has been helping make this community an amazing place to age. Professional and highly trained staff provide a wide array of information, support, and services designed to help older adults lead the most independent and active lives possible. Sage Elder Care continues to make a positive impact on the lives of older adults in our community. Now, therefore, be it proclaimed that Township Committee of the Township of Chatham congratulates Sage Elder Care on the 50th anniversary of its Meals on Wheels program and offers thanks and gratitude to Sage Elder Care for their many years of service to the Chatham community. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, come on up. Sure. Give me a number. Should wear a jacket.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Appreciate it.
Way to go, Fred.
Thank you.
Awesome.
All right,
Terrific.
thank you.
I'm happy to help.
Thank you. Thank you again.
Thanks for your last name. J-E-N-N-Y. Executive Director.
Moving on to reports. Mike?
Thank you, Kurt.
Sage Elder.
A couple of quick reports tonight. The DPW had to deal with a power outage as a result of last week's storm. The sewer plant was out for 24 hours, but the generator clicked on flawlessly. There was no real public awareness or impact, and everything worked exactly the way it was supposed to. So congratulations on all that. The mulch at the compost is in good supply again. They just recently had the double grinding process done, so while a supply that was running short is now in good supply. So anybody who's been caring for their garden and wishing for more mulch down there, it's available in quantity at the compost center again. Also, a lot of summer projects getting done to catch up on things. If anybody was interested, the township has about 1,000 storm sewers around the town, and the DPW workers are in the process now cleaning out each one. So about 30 or 40 a day. So a little trivia question of how many stormwater basins are there in the township? Approximately 1,000. Open Space Committee is, if you haven't marked it on your calendar already, if you would please, on the August 27th, the plan is to have a work day at the Hillside Avenue trail that is being constructed there. So that group, the Open Space Committee, is reaching out to scouts and other organizations around town to lend a hand with wood chipping and making that path a reality. And the community garden is in full swing. The crops are coming in, but it's my sad responsibility to report that the rabbit roundup, which was held last Saturday, was a failure. Yeah. The rabbit was too wily for the gardeners. They were trying to drive it out the door of the garden, and the rabbit outfoxed them, and it's still there. So I'm going to have to come up with a plan B.
Yeah.
A wily rabbit.
Very good.
That's it.
Thank you, Mike. In terms of the mulch, maybe Rich, is it the same if people want mulch, just go to the compost. They pick it up themselves, so they can order it for delivery, or no? Is it just pick up only? Okay. Great. Is there a time for the Hillside cleanup yet, or for mulch delivery?
I believe it's going to be from 9 till noon.
Okay. Great. Karen?
Well, speaking of the power failure, we like to talk about our enhanced communication with our utilities. Our first priority during the power failure was to try and make sure we got the water treatment plant back up and running, and thanks to JCP&L for their enhanced communication, we know exactly how to reach out to them, the most appropriate ways to advise not only our citizens, but certainly our municipal services as well. We got a great note earlier this week from New Jersey American Water saying that they had completed all 7,500 feet of laying the new water main on Southern Boulevard. They still have some connecting work to do, but the major work has been completed. They and we thank our residents for their patience. I think that there were many inconveniences, particularly while schools were still in session, but you know, they got it done, and all it remains to do going forward is make some connections and also to see how the roadbed will lay over the course of time. They've also informed us during the course of the summer that they've replaced a number of hydrants throughout the township, and then their idea of keeping us apprised of it on a regular basis, I think, was also very helpful to our fire companies, who actually did not get the word in any other way except for through our communication. I don't know who needs to know more about whether fire hydrants have been replaced and are up and running than our fire companies. So the chiefs were grateful for that enhanced communication. Let's see, also, that's something altogether different. Regarding our senior services, they are having a AARP Smart Driver course this coming Monday. Registration is mandatory because the size of the class is limited. If you can call the Senior Center and ask for a spot on their AARP Smart Driver course, that's Monday, July 25th at 9 a.m. And they will be providing certificates to show for insurance discounts that they've completed that. The Tri-Town 55 Plus Coalition from Chatham Township, Chatham Borough, and Madison has completed their Phase 1 survey and are in the process of applying for a GRATA Fund Phase 2 grant for $75,000 to put into place many of the initiatives that were pointed out through the response to the survey. And that's what I have right here.
Great. Thank you, Karen. Again, thank you for your efforts to ensure the communication between utilities and residents and committee and other departments within the township itself. So
Well, I appreciate your saying that. I think it's something that we can all point towards as it benefits the entire community when we know, even if it's a lot of self-service, if it's going on the app for JCP&L to find out when or if an outage has been reported, et cetera. Just people are putting a paramount emphasis on communication, so that's what we want to do.
Great. Thank you. Kevin?
I had the opportunity to attend the Colony Pool Luau, and it was I think everyone had a great time. It was a good success. I just want to thank the Colony Pool management staff and all the lifeguards. They did a tremendous job setting up and preparing for it, as well as the Colony Pool Advisory Committee. The night came together well. Tiki lamps looked great. Music was excellent. The food was phenomenal. So it was a good time had by all.
Were the lifeguards needed?
They set up prior to. No, we had one on duty just in case someone wandered off course.
As it were. Great. Thank you, Kevin. And I too want to just commend the Colony Pool Club management, as well as the advisory committee who helped organize the event. Tom and everyone else. The feedback I had heard as well, over 110 people showed up, and great event. Hopefully this will become an annual event for everyone at Colony. And in keeping with Colony, just remind everyone that tomorrow night, Friday, July 22nd, is going to be our first family movie night under the stars. Starts at 8 o'clock. I encourage everyone to bring their blankets and snacks. It's going to be the movie Inside Out. And then also remind residents, anyone over 62 years old, there's going to be a heat wave this weekend and any other time throughout the course of the summer where the temperatures exceed 90 degrees. Just remind folks that they're welcome to come to the Colony Pool Club to cool off, dip their feet in the pool, just relax under the shaded trees. So that's the Colony Pool update. Tom, if you have anything else you can speak to? Or?
No, I just want to acknowledge that the Municipal Alliance Committee is co-sponsor of the movie night. Both this one and there'll be another in August when we'll be showing Shaun the Sheep. So, quirky little movie I think everybody will enjoy. And I just wanted to thank the Municipal Alliance for joining us in this effort.
Great, thank you. Next item I wanted to just talk about is remind folks that on September 24th, we're going to have our first annual Out of the Darkness Community Walk for suicide prevention. Our advisory committee met a few weeks ago, and we're in the early stages now of publicizing this. Lawn signs and press releases, et cetera, and such will go out next week, and encourage everyone to go to the Township. There's a special website that's been created for registration, which is www.afsp.org/ChathamTWP. This is an opportunity for individuals to come out and register, or if you want to set up a team to register and raise funds. And learn more on that site itself. In terms of public safety, I know Chief will give a report briefly, but just want to remind folks again, as we approach the summer months here, remind folks to lock it, hide it, and set it, which is lock your valuables inside, set your alarm before you go out during these summer months, and remind folks as well that the Zika presentation we had a few weeks ago is on the homepage of the website. Zika is getting more I guess, publicity in recent days and weeks as people realize the severity of this virus. But we had a presentation a few weeks ago, and if you want to learn more, please go to our website to see that. The Board of Ed is going to be holding two special meetings next week, Wednesday, July 27th, one at 10 a.m. and one at 7 p.m. to discuss the upcoming referendum. It's going to be at the Middle School Library Media Center, located at 480 Main Street. So encourage residents who have an interest learning more about this to come by these two presentations. And then I think this is an annual thing. William Testa, who's the executive director of ARC, has sent us a check for $1,286.25. This is, I guess, in lieu of taxes. And as our tradition with our committee, well, I guess we'll just do a voice vote to agree to basically tear up the check or send it back to them for their services they do on behalf of the community. So do we need to do a voice vote or just all in agreement? All in favor of returning the money to the ARC?
Aye.
Aye. Great. Thank you. That's all I have on my end. John?
Thank you, Mayor. You'll note there's, on the consent agenda, there's two change order resolutions. Resolution 157, that is a closeout change order for the Wickham Woods Drainage Project, contract number 1 with Hutton Construction. That contract was a unit price contract where we have estimated quantities and a firm unit price, and then ultimately when the project is done, some of those estimated quantities are higher, some are lower, and then you just do a change order to come out with an as-built quantity. And so the contract with that, there is going to be a reduction, approximately $22,000 reduction in that award amount. So the resolution is just to formalize closing out that contract with that contractor. The second resolution, 158, it's for the installation of a yard hydrant at the Chatham Glen pump station. The purpose of this is the wet well associated with the new pump station does need to be cleaned out every so often, and water is, right now, is being pulled from the plant itself. It's as a spigot, and they use it. We have a contractor on site, and the thought is that we install this yard hydrant, which would allow us to disconnect the water in the former plant, so that we don't, in the wintertime, if we need water, we don't have to keep the one room heated, and so it just separates the facility, because eventually the intent is to demolish the entire plant. But at this point in time, it allows us to take that water meter out of service on the plant, puts it in a remote meter, and it just allows water to be utilized without having to heat the plant. So that's what that change order is. Just taking advantage of the fact that we do have a contractor still under contract. He still has to come back and do restoration associated with the plant. He's going to come back closer to the fall when it's a more appropriate time to do the seeding and mulch and finish that contract. So at that time, the thought was to have him install this hydrant. And so that the contract's for it. Just a report on other projects. Plans and specifications were prepared for the electrical improvements at the municipal building associated with the generator. Ultimately, that's a grant from FEMA. The scope is to make the electrical connections more permanent, and then also it was for a fuel storage tank. And after looking at basically, we wanted to get a larger tank so that that generator, when it runs, it'll run. We have fuel for more than 24 hours. We wanted to have more fuel. So the thought is to, instead of having a permanent fuel tank, I did find actually a number of vendors that actually fabricate portable tanks. And I think the advantage of having a portable tank is that it eliminates the need for a permanent foundation and having a more commercial looking fuel oil tank in that area. It also, after looking at the area, we would have had to apply for DEP permits and makes it more complicated. So getting this portable fuel tank, it just allows the tank to be mobilized at any time, and then once a storm is over, you can just bring it back to the DPW yard where that fuel can then be utilized by trucks and incorporated, because you don't want fuel just to sit in a tank for a long period of time. This way we can keep the fuel from becoming stagnant, and it seems like a more practical way of addressing that. So that is under review by FEMA. I'm waiting for them to give me feedback, to give authorization to bid, and then once they do, we can move forward with that project. The Woodland Sidewalk project, I did report that I did submit the permit down to the DEP to go forward with that project. Unfortunately, everyone probably heard that the Transportation Trust Fund is kind of on hold, and we did get notification we did receive a stop work order from the DOT on that project. So we're in a point where when the permit comes back from the DEP, hopefully this may be resolved, but nevertheless, we're set up for when it is resolved, we'll be ready to bid that project and go forward with it. Colony Pool, we did budget to replace the main retaining wall at the facility, but due to concerns with structural integrity. That project is out to bid. We are receiving bids next week, and so I'm hoping the bids come in within budget, and then we can award that in August so that we can set the contractor up to start as soon as the Colony Pool shuts down. We can mobilize that contractor and have that wall completed during the fall, and then we'll be ready to go in the spring. So hopefully all that falls into place. And then also, we budgeted for drainage, Phase 2 drainage improvements in the Wickham Woods area. We're going to be receiving bids early August, and again, if everything goes well, that should be on the agenda for August to award that project.
Great.
So,
Thanks, John.
Mayor,
Yes.
are there any other projects, John, that are at risk with the Transportation Trust Fund?
No, just one. No, our project for Lafayette Sidewalk, it's a federal project, and so that is moving. DOT is still working out the logistics with their consultant. I'm not aware of ultimately, we're going to receive a recommendation from the DOT that they negotiated the price and ultimately agree that this is the price they're going to pay, and then it'll come to us to actually secure that contractor and an engineer to start with the design, and those negotiations, to my understanding, is still going on.
Thank you.
Thank you, John. Chief?
Mayor, I just have a couple things. To date, this year, we've had 18 cars that were illegally entered and property stolen. We've had 2 stolen cars in the recent past. Just a reminder, I stand here, I think, every year and remind people that it's that time of the year where we see the increase in property crimes in the township. Just to remind the residents that they need to lock their car doors and remove the key fobs from the cars. This recent weekend, we had 2 cars. 1 car was stolen and 2 cars were entered. I'm thinking and I'm hoping that most of the residents are heeding the warning and they're locking their car doors, and that's why we've only had 2 that were entered. Unfortunately, the owner of the vehicle on May Drive left the key fob in it, left the doors unlocked. This is becoming a real problem in not only the township and the surrounding communities, but statewide, that now there's a theft ring out there that are targeting high-end cars. And it's very simple. All they do is either hit the door handle or hit the button on the door, and if it unlocks, the key fob's in it, and you're good to go. So that's pretty much the case here. The recent car that was stolen, I'm confident it will come to a successful conclusion in the near future. It is currently under investigation, and that's all I can say on that. And I hate to say what hasn't happened to this point, and I'm knocking on wood. Residential burglaries compared to last year are way down. To date, we've had a couple homes that were being renovated or under construction entered and property stolen. Those cases are referred to more as thefts than they are burglaries. But there are some that you may have seen in past reports that have come across your desk that have been reclassified since those reports have come out each month. In regards to the homes, to minimize your opportunity of being victimized, got to lock your doors, set your alarms, make the house look as though it's being lived in, leave lights on, put them on timers, leave a television on, leave a radio on, have your neighbors check on the house, leave outside lights on, and lock the doors. Lock the doors. I still talk to a number of residents in town that don't lock their doors. And I can tell you, going back to the car, I myself did not heed my own warning 2 weeks ago and left my money clip and my credit cards in my car and left my door unlocked in my driveway and was a victim of crime, victim of a theft. Fortunately for me, when they got to the other end of the block and looked to see what they scored, there was my police ID and my badge, so the property was returned to my mailbox, less the cash, of course. So I am even, just goes to show you I can be a victim too, right? So we all need to just heed the warning, lock our doors, and remove our valuables. The last note is the traffic and the detours and all the construction that's going on in town. When I came into the lot this morning, there were no cars left in the lot. Everyone was out working somewhere today. I can tell you that the project on Southern Boulevard is about 2 weeks out to be completed, so that traffic issue should come to an end. For the residents that live on Rolling Hill and the back roads, the main detours now are being kept on the main municipal roads and the county roads. Unfortunately, some of the people have found the shortcuts and continue to use those back roads. They are not being detoured down Rolling Hill and the other roads. So that's not our doing. But that's out. The fire hydrants, I don't exactly know where we're at on that. It's different location every day. There's never 2 fire hydrants next to each other that are done. We, for the most part, don't realize where we're going until the day before on those jobs. So I like to think we're more than halfway. I think there's 83 that are being replaced that are not part of the Southern Boulevard project. So we're getting to the point where I think, unless someone knows the numbers, I'd like to think we're more than halfway through that replacement project. And as far as I don't know if there's any other projects that are on the burner for future traffic issues long term. Shumpike Road, but this project is almost done.
Great.
That's it.
Thank you, Chief. Do you have any update in terms of the Neighborhood Watch program? How?
Yes, I missed that point, and that's another thing I want to touch on. You know, the Neighborhood Watch program is still in the growing stage. I can tell you that a very active Neighborhood Watch program is on Candace Drive. And two or 3 weeks ago, you may have seen in the monthly report that we had arrested 2 young men from Brooklyn on Fairmont Avenue for drug possession. And what happened in that case was one of the neighbors was home and looking out for her neighbors, as the Neighborhood Watch program promotes. And on 2 occasions, I think there were 2 consecutive days, she noticed that strangers were going to the mailbox across the street from her home, opening the mailbox, going through the mail, and then leaving. Come to find out, the man who owned the home was a victim of an identity theft and had a credit card opened in his name. And these fine young men from Brooklyn were coming out to check the mail every day because they opened the account and were looking for the credit card. So they came every day looking for the credit card. The woman called. One of the officers spotted the card down on Fairmont Avenue. Unfortunately, the person who called us couldn't ID them as going into the mailbox. So what happened eventually resulted in the arrest for drug possession. So hopefully that is, they won't be back, but that's how the Neighborhood Watch program works. And I think in my last press release, I encourage the residents to call us, all of us, to call the police when something's just not right, or the dog barks at 4 o'clock in the morning, or whatever the case is, because it's cases like that where that woman's phone call led to that arrest. Although we couldn't put them in the mailbox and couldn't put them with the identity theft, we got them for what we could, and they won't be back. So it was that phone call, it was that Neighborhood Watch program, it was that resident who knew something wasn't right and made that phone call. So I encourage your residents, if the dog barks at 4 o'clock in the morning, the car goes down your road you don't recognize, we're out there. We're out there at those hours. We're waiting for that phone call.
Chief, that phone call came into 377 number, I suppose?
You know, I don't know how that number came in, or how that call came in.
Well, that's where you would, for
You know, if it's one of those instances where, God, what's the phone number? I need to hurry up and call the police. Just dial 911. You know, it goes to the same location. It's handled just about the same way, and it gets filtered out to us as quick as possible. I'd rather have someone dial 911 when the car is still on the block, or while they still see the taillights and trying to figure out what the phone number is for the police department.
right.
So,
Great. That's a great success story for the Neighborhood Watch program.
yeah, that's an
Yeah,
excellent,
you
that's
might
an
want to
excellent
consider
story.
starting one in your neighborhood.
Chief, I'd like
But
to...
I think I know who it is.
I'd like to say that we are pulling one together in my neighborhood as
Yes,
a
I know you
result
are.
of, you know, number
I know
one,
you are.
as a result of all that we hear and
Right.
see, and number two, because this is my neighborhood. I mean, our neighbors look to each other to try and keep it together. Officer Bloom came to our house. He said, if you get 3 people there, that's fine. If you get 10 people there, that's fine. If you get the whole neighborhood, that's great. If you have a handful of people who want to start a neighborhood watch program, Officer Bloom will come to the house. He will sit down, hopefully with the neighborhood patrolman assigned to our neighborhood, which happened in our case, and just went over various things. If you see something, say something, and call it in. If you see a car that looks out of place that you know doesn't belong in your neighborhood, you don't have to get the plate per se, but the make, color, model, distinctive stickers, anything that you see. And they were great, and our neighbors did come together, and we are going to put a neighborhood watch group together, and just to look out for one another, to tell folks when you're away, to tell folks when you have people staying over, strange car might be in the driveway, etc.
Yeah, you know, it's one of those, you know, and even I do it in my neighborhood where I live. It's a little different community, little busier police departments, very big town. And there are times where I may or should have called for something that I saw, but I'm saying, well, I don't want to bother them. You know, this is the type of community where you pick up the phone and you call the police department. That's, you know, we encourage people to call.
Right.
We just, you know, that's the kind of community we're in here. That's the kind of police department we want you to call.
Right.
Because it's that one call, it's that one person that saw one thing that solves these crimes. It's a big town. We can't be everywhere at once. We try, but we just can't. You know, every home, for the most part, is occupied. Eyes and ears are what help us solve these crimes or prevent the crimes from happening.
Thanks, Chief. And maybe, Ed, Alex, you can help promote the idea that you see something, say something. Again, it's a great success story. Shows how one call led to the arrests.
Right.
So everyone can do their part. Thank you.
All right, thank you.
Tom?
Yes, Mayor, just a couple of things. We conducted bond anticipation note sale on July 6th. I believe you were all given a copy of the memo from Debbie King, CFO. We received a total of 4 bids. The winning bid was submitted by Jeffries LLC with a net interest cost of 0.7820. It's a great interest rate, but frankly, that is higher than what we've been seeing each of the last couple of years. It has ticked up a little bit, but it has stayed under 1%, which I think is very good. The total amount was $7.3 million, and just to refresh everybody's memory, bond anticipation notes are issued for up to 1 year. So this was a 1-year note. It was a rollover of several years' worth of bond improvement authorizations, plus this year's new authorization that was done in the bond ordinance that you adopted a couple of months ago. So the maturity date on it will be July 13th of 2017. And then tonight, assuming that the ordinance for the sewer utility bond ordinance is approved, we'll do a subsequent bond anticipation note sale for that issue, the $800,000, with a shorter maturity date. So that will be done on probably a 9 or 10 month maturity to come due at the same time next year as this one. So next year they'll be rolled together. The timing this year just didn't work. We weren't ready to do the utility bond ordinance at the same time as the general capital, so that's the reason for that. But anyway, good result, not the best compared to the last few years, but still very good. And if you go back, a half dozen years ago, you certainly didn't see interest rates anything like that. I also want to just make a pitch again about the Colony pool events. The movie night tomorrow night is at 8 o'clock, and it is open to everybody. It's not just for Colony members. It's open to the entire community, and it is free of charge. So we encourage people to bring a blanket, come out, enjoy the movie, bring your own snacks. The snack bar, I think, will be open, but as soon as the movie starts, that's going to shut down. So if you bring your little ones out, bring your juice boxes and snacks. And also the invitation to our seniors to come out any day that the temperature reaches 90 or above, that is also free. I wanted to make sure that everybody understood it's an invitation for our seniors to come and enjoy the pool free of charge on those days, and to come out and mix with the community and cool off and be safe.
Great. Thank you, Tom. Rich, do you have anything, or you're good? Great. We'll now open up for hearing of citizens. This is an opportunity for any member of the public to be heard about the issues which are not topics scheduled for public hearing tonight. To help facilitate an orderly meeting and to permit all to be heard, speakers are asked to limit their comments to 3 minutes. Hearing and seeing no one come forward, we'll move on to our ordinance 2016-18, sewer utility bond ordinance. This is a final adoption. It's a bond ordinance to authorize the making of various sanitary sewer improvements and the acquisition of a new automotive vehicle, including original apparatus and equipment, in, by, and for the sewer utility of the Township of Chatham and the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, to appropriate the sum of $800,000 to pay for the cost thereof, to authorize the issuance of bonds to finance such appropriation, and to provide for the issuance of bond anticipation notes in anticipation of the issuance of such bonds. We'll open it up for a hearing of citizens. Seeing no one come forward, anyone have any discussion on the committee? Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
And Mayor Ritter?
Yes. Well, we'll now move on to the consent agenda. Does anyone have any comments on the agenda? Greg, you want to read those off for us, please?
This evening we have Resolution 2016-149, payment of bills, 2016-150, receipt of reports, 2016-151, approving meeting minutes, 2016-152, approving executive session minutes, 2016-153, colony pool refund, 2016-154, releasing escrow balances, 2016-155, colony pool luau refund, 2016-156, covenanting to comply with IRS Code of 1986, 2016-157, authorizing change order for Wickham Woods Drainage Project, and 2016-158, authorizing change order for Chatham Glen Pump Station.
Thank you, Greg. Anyone have
Mayor, before you vote, I would like to just explain briefly the
Sure.
two refund resolutions.
Yep.
The colony pool refund, there's actually 3 refunds that are being granted. And normally, our policy is that there aren't supposed to be any refunds. But in these 3 cases, the first one was actually an error. The family intended to sign up for the tennis clinic and thought that colony membership was a prerequisite for that, so had also signed up for the pool. When they realized that it was a standalone, they asked to have the pool refunded, and the recommendation is to do so. The other 2 family refunds have to do with family matters that are private in nature, so I'd rather not provide any detail on those. And then the other one, the last one, the luau refund, is a $20 refund. And what happened there is the pricing was set up as $35 for an individual and $60 for a couple. And when it was first set up, one of the members wanted to bring guests and purchase 2 additional couples, but the way we had the pricing set up, it didn't pick up to charge $60, it charged $35 for each person. So she was charged $140 instead of $120, and this $20 is a refund of the difference. We wanted to just give a credit on her account, but again, for a variety of administrative reasons, we weren't able to do that. So that's what that's about.
Great, thanks for the clarification. Does anybody else have any other comments on the consent agenda? Is there a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second?
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
And Mayor Ritter?
Yes. I don't know that we have any discussion items. Does anybody have anything to discuss? All right, we'll open up for hearing of citizens again. Seeing no one come forward, we'll close out the hearing of citizens. We have 2 items on the executive session. Do you want to read those off for us, Greg?
Resolution 2016-P-11, resolution of the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham and the County of Morris, State of New Jersey, authorizing conference of the Township Committee with the public excluded, whereas NJSA 10:4-12 of the Open Public Meetings Act permits the exclusion of the public from a meeting in certain circumstances, and whereas the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham is of the opinion that such circumstances presently exist, now therefore be it resolved by the Township Committee of the Township of Chatham, County of Morris, State of New Jersey as follows. 1, the public shall be excluded from discussion of the specified subject matter. 2, the general nature of the subject matter to be discussed is as follows. A, pending litigation in the matter of the Township of Chatham for a judgment of compliance of its third-round housing element and fair share plan docket number MRS-L-1659-15. B, potential litigation, Township of Chatham versus Phoenix Chatham 1 and 2 LLC. 3, it is anticipated that the minutes on the subject matter of the executive session will be made public upon conclusion of the matter under discussion and in any event when appropriate pursuant to NJSA 10:4-7 and 4-13. 4, the committee will come back into regular session and may take further action. 5, the resolution shall take effect immediately.
Thank you, Randy. Do you have a motion to approve the resolution?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Mr. Kelly?
Yes.
Mrs. Schwartz?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Sullivan?
Yes.
Mayor Ritter?
Yes.